Happy Thursday. Thanks for watching THV 11 News at Noon. I'm Michael Aaron in for Amanda Yeager. Studies show that 1 in 5 kids across Arkansas are food insecure. And THV 11 is looking to help reduce that number with our annual summer cereal drive year 21. It continues today in North Little Rock. That's where we find Chief Meteorologist Tom Brannon. He is at the Indian Hills Kroger this afternoon. Tom, how's it going so far today? I know it's hot.
Hi there. Ooh, it is hot. You know, we had a special guest appearance from meteorologist Scott Covert. Came out, said hi, dropped off a little bit of cereal. Folks, I tell you what, here in North Little Rock, Indian Hills Kroger, we're about 950 boxes. All right, 950. Craig O'Neill last night, I hope he's watching here at noon. Craig said, Tom, the goal has got to be 9,000 boxes. You've got between now and 5:30 to come and make a difference, whether it's a cash donation, cereal on the inside of the store. They've got specials on Kellogg cereals, Post cereals. Take advantage of that. Or you can make a cash donation. Just come out and drop a few bucks in the box that we have. Special guests coming up. We've got the mayor of North Little Rock, Terry Hartwick, and we'll hear from the president of AT&T, Ronnie Dedman. That's coming up here in a few minutes. Back into you.
All right, Tom, thank you. And Scott, as we heard Tom mention, you were out there. How hot was it? How hot is it out there this afternoon?
Michael, it's so hot that I owe you an apology. Here's why. I sweated through my shirt. I am certain there is an odor eroding from the weather center. It's just hot outside. It's hot, it's humid. Unfortunately, we have a ways to go before we see that afternoon high temperature. Take a look at where we're at right now. 89 in Little Rock, 86 in Russellville, 86 this afternoon in Batesville. But here's what it feels like. You factor in that humidity, and there is some good old Arkansas humidity out there this afternoon. It feels like it's 97 in Little Rock. In Arkadelphia, it feels like it's 106. Feels like it's 110 in Camden. Your forecast for today calls for a high of 92. Feels like temperatures between 100 and 105 with some sunshine mixing in with some clouds, a light breeze out of the southeast. We have some rain chances in store for the weekend into next week. Details on that still ahead.
Officials say more than 50 people are unaccounted for following a partial building collapse overnight in Surfside, Florida, just north of Miami Beach. At least one person has been confirmed dead. It happened just after 2 this morning at a 12-story condo building with more than 130 units. Firefighters have rescued 35 occupants from the building so far. 2 were transported to the hospital. Exactly what caused that deadly incident is still unclear. President Joe Biden has invited a bipartisan group of senators to the White House to discuss the details of a deal on a roughly $1 trillion infrastructure bill. Natalie Brand has the details from the White House.
Lawmakers in the White House are optimistic they've reached a bipartisan deal on infrastructure.
Republicans and Democrats have come together along with the White House, and we've agreed on a framework.
White House negotiators briefed Democratic leaders on the outlines of the deal Wednesday night.
We'll let them announce it first. Let's see it, but we support the concepts that we have heard about.
Republican leader Mitch McConnell says he's waiting to see the details, but with 11 Republicans in the bipartisan group, Democrats would have the votes to pass the bill without additional GOP support. In addition to the bipartisan compromise, the White House and Democrats are working on a separate budget bill that could be passed without Republican support.
Whatever is in the bipartisan bill would then be subtracted from what we do next week.
That's it.
When we go to reconciliation.
Yep.
Democrats say the budget bill is needed to get progressive members of the party on board with the more moderate infrastructure bill.
All parties understand we won't get enough votes to pass either unless we have enough votes to pass both.
They say they want to vote on both bills in July. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
The Democratic budget bill would include many of President Biden's priorities, including investments in child care, community college, and paid leave. It would pay for the proposals with tax hikes on corporations and the rich. Republicans have said they will not approve any new tax hikes. With the CDC's moratorium on evictions set to expire in a week, the Biden administration is expected to order an extension to the end of July. Right now, an estimated 6 million American families are behind on rent and at risk of being homeless this summer. Facing the possibility of mass evictions, the White House wants to buy more time to get federal rent relief money to the tenants who need it. If the Biden administration acts as expected, it would be the 4th time that the deadline for lifting the ban on evictions has been pushed back. All right, let's get to the latest COVID news in Arkansas. We saw another high jump in new cases. 389 new cases have been reported over the last 24 hours, and our total number of active cases also went up. Some slightly good news to report: our hospitalizations have dipped. State health officials have expressed concern about those numbers. Governor Asa Hutchinson says our return to normal is happening faster than our vaccinations, and he says he wants to get back to normal, but we all have to do our part and get those shots. Another big concern for doctors right now: the more contagious Delta variant. People are coming to hospitals sicker than before, and most of those patients have not been fully vaccinated. A Northwest Arkansas doctor says the rise in numbers is frustrating when it can all be prevented.
We are seeing right now that the vaccines are protective even against the Delta variant, and it is more important than ever to get vaccinated. If you are unvaccinated, you are at risk, and you're putting others at risk.
Right now, around 40% of Arkansans ages 12 and up are fully vaccinated. New info this afternoon: the suspect in a North Little Rock homicide appears in court today. 34-year-old Robert Watts was arrested overnight and charged with first-degree murder in the shooting death of 31-year-old Evan Bowers. We first told you about this incident yesterday on THV-11 News at noon. It happened over on 22nd Street. When officers got there, they found Bowers dead from a gunshot wound. We will have an update on Watts' court appearance this evening, coming up at 5 and 6 o'clock right here on THV-11. Well, trends show that 2021 could become the deadliest year of gun violence in the last 2 decades. President Joe Biden announced a new strategy to combat that yesterday. It includes a zero-tolerance policy for gun dealers who break federal law, deploying strike teams to crack down on illegal gun trafficking, and encouraging communities to use federal pandemic relief funds for policing and crime prevention. David Begnaud reports from New York.
Take Chicago last weekend. Police say during the Puerto Rican Day festivities, surveillance video captured Giovanni Arzuaga and Yasmin Perez being ambushed after a minor traffic accident. According to authorities, Yasmin was pulled from the car, beaten, and shot. When Giovanni tried to save her, he was gunned down almost execution style. Both of them were killed.
It's hard to believe that he's gone. A young guy is gone just because of an accident.
In New York City, 2 children narrowly avoided being shot as a gunman shot at a man on a busy city street. And in Austin, Texas this month, gunfire broke out early one morning in the city's nightlife district. 1 person was killed, 13 more were injured. Nearly 10,000 people have been killed this year alone from gun violence, and it's not letting up. In a study of 24 major cities, homicides increased by 24% in the first quarter of 2021 compared to the same time period in 2020, and by 49% from that period in 2019. So far this year, homicides are up nearly 14% in New York City, 22% in Los Angeles, and by 13% in Washington, D.C. compared to last year.
The frustrating thing is no one has identified the magic solution.
Stephen Adler is the mayor of Austin, Texas, and he is hoping to reverse the trends.
We have too many illegal weapons that are falling into the wrong hands. We have to try to find those illegal weapons and take them off the street.
For Patrick Sharkey, a sociologist at Princeton University, the answer goes well beyond illegal firearms and law enforcement.
As a sociologist who studies gun violence in America, do you believe that abolishing the police is a good idea?
No, I don't think it's a good idea. We have 300, 400 million guns on the street. Our primary focus should be investing in these other institutions that can deal with addiction, mental illness, provide after-school programs.
Here's some perspective. There's one analysis that took a look at about 20 cities around the country and found that roughly 1% of the calls police are going out on involve calls of violence where guns and knives are involved, just 1%. So the sociologist you just heard from is a big proponent of leave the police for those calls, but let's focus on sending in better trained people to deal with a large majority of everything else. David Begnaud, CBS News, Manhattan.